Deftones. Love them or hate them, chances are you've heard of them. Whether it's someone LARPing metal music on TikTok, or some sick-ass muscle car with a Deftones song in the background, you've heard them before. You have, trust me. Hello internet, it's Kirby, and I'm doing a tier list of every single Deftones song. I'm a bit qualified to say that I like this band, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. This is my first time doing a tier list, or a YouTube video entirely, so if you want to see more, let me know. Also, my feelings are subjective and easily hurt, and these are my personal ratings. Please don't come to my house and attack me. With that said, let's get on with the video. Adrenaline was Deftones' first album. It was released in early 1995 with a short-lived, unique sound, combining various elements from nu metal and some of Chino My Beloved's rawest vocal performances. The guitar throughout this whole album has such a cool tone that I haven't been able to replicate. Personally, it's not one of my favorite albums of theirs as a whole, but it has a lot of banger tracks. But it's not a bad album by any means. I certainly have other favorite albums, but overall, I'd give this a solid 7 out of 10. The album opener on this one is Bored, and contrary to the title, oh man, is it not boring. It's raw, powerful, and already shows off that this band is no joke. It's one of the more popular tracks on the record, and that's for a good reason. Chino's vocal performance on this is some of his best, totally piercing through the guitar and drums on this track. Amazing tier. Next up is Minus Blindfold. This track is pretty good. It has more rap rock influence, but a bunch of heavy breakdowns. I like this one a lot actually. It kind of flew under my radar before this video, but it's grown on me. The lyrics are a bit repetitive, but the flow is solid. Good tier. 1 Week. I'm surprised it doesn't get as much attention as it does. It's a good track with a really nice build-up. The bass at the beginning is the chef's kiss, super funky and flows really nice into the rest of the track. Right in the amazing tier behind Bored. Nosebleed. Talk about an underrated track. This doesn't get nearly as much recognition as it deserves compared to other tracks on this album. It's super heavy and unfiltered with one of the catchiest guitar riffs that's on this album. Really good tier. Lifter. Again, another track that flew under my radar. I keep forgetting how many tracks on Adrenaline are marked as explicit, and this one is no exception. I guess this is the beginning of Deftones' horniness that they're known for. Anyways, Chino hits those notes in this song, which you don't really see in any of their other works, especially later. Bottom of the good tier. Root. I'd say it's pretty accurately rated. Not amazing, but not bad either. I don't want to say that it's a forgettable track, but I kind of forgot about it. Don't get me wrong, it's still a decent track, but it's comparable to almost everything else on this album. Random, but there's this one riff in the song where the guitar sounds like a riff in Master of Puppets a bit. In between Minus Blindfold and Lifter in the good tier. 7 Words. Oh man, I might get hate for this, but this song is overrated. It's the top song on the album, but undeserving. That's not to say it's a bad track. It's solid, but personally I think there's better tracks on this record by far. Bottom of the good tier. Birthmark. This track was honestly a bit disappointing. I didn't previously listen to it, but I was hoping for something a bit better after the build-up. Just kind of a forgettable track, but not bad by any means. Not bad tier. Engine number 9. Yeah, now we're talking. It's fast, aggressive, catchy riff, nice interlude. I don't know what the hell he's screaming about without reading the lyrics, but it's a banger nonetheless. In between Bored and 1 Week in the amazing tier. Fire Real. For real? Fire Real? Whatever. Again, another track that flew under my radar. It's a decent track and sounds very unique compared to the other tracks on this album. Parts of this track sound like they were experimenting with having slower, hypnotic vocals like some of their later albums, but it's also the longest song on this album and feels way slower than the other tracks. Above Birthmark in the not bad tier. Lastly, Fist. It gets a lot of hate, but that isn't to say that it's not deserving of any. It's not a bad track and has a unique sound, and in my opinion, should have been an interlude track rather than a closer. Bottom of the not bad tier. Alright, this is where things start ramping up. Around the first, Deftones' second album. It was released in late 1997, and it's when they really started to find their sound as a band, in my opinion. It's also when they started to really gain popularity, with a lot of hits like My Own Summer and Be Quiet and Drive playing on many rock radio stations in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's heavy, but not as harsh as Adrenaline was. For me, I'd give it a 8.4 out of 10. My Own Summer. Starting off strong, and also the most streamed track on the album, it's gonna be hard to beat. It's instantly recognizable, and it's popular because it's simply just good. The vocals are haunting and catchy at the same time, and instruments are there to back it up. I have an emotional attachment to this song as well. I started playing guitar almost 3 years ago, and instead of Smoke on the Water or Wonderwall, I figured out how to play this by ear, and it's honestly a really good first song to learn. You can definitely tell that Deftones found their sound as a band with this, dropping one of the best rock hits as the opening track. God tier. Labia. It's a bit of a letdown compared to the tracks it's surrounded by. It's still a solid track, don't get me wrong, but it's heavy, and that's about it. In between Lifter and 7 Words in the good tier. Mascara. Ooh boy. This song has done irreparable damage to my algorithms in the form of emo girls doing thirst traps to this song. Hey, I'm not complaining. This song is great. It's ominous, almost intimate in a way, and is definitely popular for a reason. Top of the amazing tier. Around the Fur, the self-titled track, and deserving of it. This is a track where I can say the drums are a key part to how it sounds. It's heavy, raw, almost adrenaline-esque, and you can feel the rage in this song. Really good to put on a pair of headphones and crank out a few PRs at the gym. Behind Nosebleed in the really good tier. Rickets. I'm not a huge fan of this track, but I can still enjoy it if it comes on. It's a bit repetitive and slightly forgettable track, especially considering what it's surrounded by in the album, and a lot of it is just yelling, to which I'm not the biggest fan of. Top of the not bad tier. Be Quiet and Drive. Oh yes. This song screams badass, and I can physically feel the testosterone in my veins when the song comes on. I can put this on in my car and go for a drive. Going the speed limit, of course. What else would you do when this song comes on? The vocals are nothing short of incredible on this, and the melody backs it up. Nearly tied with My Own Summer, but I'd have to put it above in the god tier. Lotion. This track is kinda slept on. I have no clue what Chino's talking about for the most part, but the chorus is hypnotizing and really good. The track as a whole is heavy, with a really, I don't know how else to phrase it, cool sounding guitar riff that sounds like an evil twin of Be Quiet and Drive. Honestly, a really good gym track as well. Top of the good tier. Die the Flu. Now this song kicks ass. Same haunting vocals like in the chorus of Lotion or Mascara, with arguably one of the best guitar performances on the entire album. Change my mind. Actually, please don't. I wish I could sing like this. In between Engine Number 9 and 1 Week in the amazing tier. Head Up. I'm gonna be honest, the song is kinda jarring. That's not to say it's a bad track at all, it just sounds like it should be on Adrenaline. It has that same angry vocals, and all you need to do is tweak the guitar tone a bit and it would fit perfectly in. Right behind Rickets in the not bad tier. MX. Coming in at the length of almost 2 whole Fortnite matches, or enough time for my brother to be done with the shower, MX is 37 minutes, 27 of them being complete silence for some reason, interrupted by a little something at around the 20-minute mark. I'm breaking this up into 2 parts. Part 1 I'm going to put at the bottom of the good tier, and part 2 in between Birthmark and Fist in the not bad tier. I'm a little biased about this album, but what's not to love about White Pony? It's one of the most consistently good albums in their entire discography, despite it being their 3rd album. Released in mid-2000, it has some iconic tracks like Digital Bath and Change, as well as some lesser-known bangers and even a feature from my glorious king, Maynard James Keenan. Deftones were experimenting with a new, slower, darker, more intimate sound for this album, and I love it. Almost all the tracks are in drop C tuning, which already sounds badass. I'd give it an 8.7 out of 10. The first track is Back to School, Mini Maggot. It's alright, especially compared to Pink Maggot, which is like this song's cooler but lesser known brother. It's an alright track at best, and it sounds a lot like an amalgamation of a bunch of other riffs in this album, which I think is kind of unique. In between Root and Labia in the good tier. Feeticera, however you pronounce it. This one's alright. It starts to introduce the atmospheric sound that's in this entire album, but slightly a forgettable track compared to what it's surrounded by. Right behind Back to School in the good tier. Digital Bath. Now we're talking. This song is great. It's instantly recognizable, it's intimate, atmospheric, it's got really cool drums. Makes me feel like I'm floating when I listen to it, and some of the pinnacles of this album in terms of how it flows and it sounds. This is one of the few songs I want to see live because man, the vocals are something else on this song. Behind My Own Summer in the God tier. Elite. Kind of a jump scare after Digital Bath, and it was when I listened to this album cover to cover for the first time. It's not a bad track, but it's just kind of screaming, which takes away from the rest of the sound of the album. In between MX Part 2 and Fist in the not bad tier. RX Queen. I just want to say that the drums are sick on this track. The lyrics are also super cool and the song as a whole flows really well. It's ominous and fits right into this album. In between Lotion and Minus Blindfold in the good tier. Street Carp. I don't really know what the song is about. Seems like Chino just forgot his address. Nevertheless, it's still alright, but I wouldn't go out of my way to put it on. But the same can be said about many other tracks on this album. Bottom of the good tier. Teenager. The middle part of this album is a bit rough, and this song kind of proves my point. It's an interlude at best and doesn't really fit well on this album at all. I would argue that this belongs in Team Sleep, not in a bad way, but in the sense that it's so out of place. Bad tier. Knife Party. Probably one of my favorite Deftones songs to date. The instruments and vocals combined are just amazing and I can't praise this track enough. I know a lot of people think this track is overrated, but I personally love it, and I think it deserves the praise. This is White Pony. In between Be Quiet and Drive and My Own Summer in the God tier. Korea. This one's pretty underrated. It's not amazing, but certainly not bad either. I find it funny that the only time the title of the album is said is in this track. In between Lifter and Labia in the good tier. Passenger. This song makes you want to floor it when you're already going 120. In a residential, the vocal handoffs between Maynard and Chino are some of the best I've ever heard, period. I'm really pissed he wasn't featured in any more Deftones songs. Top of the amazing tier. Change. Okay, I know this song is popular. It's the John Deftones of Deftones, the vanilla ice cream, but like that really good vanilla bean ice cream that you get. Vanilla bean ice cream is top 3 and I will die on that statement, and this song is certainly no exception. It's amazing, simply put. The lyricism is genius, vocals and instruments are great. The song as a whole is one of my favorites. Top of the God tier. Finally, Pink Maggot. This song is a bit long, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but man, the build-up is ominous. I remember hearing this for the first time at almost midnight and staring out my window at the stars. I think that's why it reminds me of space so much. Bottom of the really good tier. I'm gonna be honest, this whole album flew under my radar for the longest time. After hearing it, it's one of the darkest albums in Deftones' entire discography. Released in mid-2003, it was during a time where Deftones was at one of their darkest points. It was made at the time where drug use was at its worst in the band, and they were facing constant pressure from their fans to release a new album. This all fueled one of the darkest and most ominous albums I've ever listened to. I'd give it a 6.3 out of 10. Hexagram. Starts off the tone for most of the album. The signature sound of a 7-string guitar is almost paralyzing and it makes me want one. The vocals come in strong in this track and you can really hear the pain in the band through this. In between, oh god, Vici Terra and Labia in the good tier. Needles and Pins. This song carries what Hexagram couldn't. It has an interesting sounding guitar riff with the same hypnotic vocals, and I like this track a lot actually. In between Root and Back to School in the good tier. Minerva. It's the most popular track on this for a reason. I added this song to a playlist without listening to it first, and it came on when I was driving at night. Such a hypnotizing song with such a unique, layered sound to it. It truly doesn't sound like anything else of Deftones, falling right in between White Pony and Saturday Night Wrist. Oh wait, behind Digital Bath in the God tier. Good Morning Beautiful. I'd say this track is a bit forgettable honestly. Kind of like a lot of other tracks in this record in my opinion. It's okay at best, but certainly not the worst on this album. In between Head Up and Fire Reel in the not bad tier. Deathblow. Another atmospheric track that has really deep, rooted lyrics. It's criminal how underrated this song is, especially considering how many other songs in this album get more attention than this. In between Bored and Engine Number 9 in the amazing tier. When Girls Telephone Boys. I personally don't like this track at all. It's repetitive and a lot is going on. It's overall just a hard listen. Above Teenager in the bad tier. Battle Axe. The soundscape on this track sounds a lot like Death Blow and Hexagram, which I like a lot. I actually really like this track now that I've re-listened to it. In Between Lotion and RX Queen in the good tier. Lucky You. Again, another song that should have been on a side project. In this case, Crosses. Bottom of the bad tier. Bloody Cape. This one's a bit more fast-paced than some of the other songs on this record, and it's a pretty solid track for the most part. Above Good Morning Beautiful in the not bad tier. Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event. Kind of an uninteresting song, if I'm honest. I'm personally not a fan, and again, this song should have been a side project. Above Lucky You in the bad tier. Moana. I wish I could like this song a bit more than I do. It's certainly better than a lot of songs on this record, but it's mid at best. Bottom of the not bad tier. Alright, now we're back. I personally love this album. It has a distinct sound to it, like all of Deftones' previous albums. It was released in late 2006 during Chino's failing marriage and the band was starting to come back. It has a bunch of songs that became popular, like Cherry Waves, Hole in the Earth, and Beware. Saturday Night Wrist was one of the first albums I bought on CD. Anyways, this album was when Deftones began to start having more of a shoegaze sound to their music, which I personally like. I know a lot of people say that old Deftones was better, and while I can appreciate their older music, I think around this point they peaked musically. The first track, Hole in the Earth. It starts off strong but immediately takes a turn into that shoegazy elements I talked about earlier. It already sounds like nothing that Deftones has ever made, in a good way. It's dark, lyrically, talking about the roughness of the band at this point in time, but the soundscape through this track is truly incredible. Behind Minerva in the God tier. Rapture. The cool sound of the album is short-lived at this point, and in my opinion this song takes away from the flow. Jumping from Hole in the Earth straight to Beware would have been so much better without this track in it. Bottom of the bad tier. Beware. It's one of the highlights of this album, and it is certainly one by any means. It's ominous, and I like how the track flows. The guitar and even the synths at the beginning sound really unique, and Shino's voice really shines on this track. In Between Bored and Engine Number 9 in the amazing tier. Cherry Waves. I don't even think I need to say anything about it, but I'm going to anyways. This track might be what I consider to be perfect, or really close to it if anything. This is peak Deftones. Yes, I'm biased because this is my first experience with Deftones, and it brought a tear to my eye when the song blessed my ears. I listened to this song on repeat for days straight, and it is without a doubt deserving of the top of the God tier spot. Main. This song carries on a bit off Cherry Waves, I feel like, maybe even some of the previous tracks. Except Rapture. Hey, it even has Surge on this. In Between Engine Number 9 and Die the Flu in the amazing tier. Up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. That was a mouthful. It's actually a pretty decent interlude track. It's calming and actually sounds like the rest of the album. Take notes. Not bad. In Between Elite and Fist in the not bad tier. Xerxes. I'm really happy this song is getting more recognition, especially recently. I've seen a bunch more videos posted to this song over something like Cherry Waves or Change, and it's deserving of it. It flows nicely as a song, as well as with the album as a whole thus far. Except Rapture. In Between Beware and Engine Number 9 in the amazing tier. Rats, Rats, Rats. You see, people rip on this track, like, a lot. I understand the hate to an extent. This track is scary and a bit jarring compared to the rest of the songs on this album. What I really like about this most is the choruses. What can I say? I'm easy like that. The alternating time signatures are also part of the reason why this song is so disorienting at times. Just for that, back of the good tier. Pink Cell Phone. It's not even a good interlude track. We already had one, and that was up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. We don't need another one. Oh, I guess we also had Rapture. Bottom of the bad tier. Combat. This one's underrated as hell. It flew under my radar until I listened to Saturday Night Wrist cover to cover for the first time. I was shocked hearing this and how surprisingly good it is. In Between Lifter and Korea in the good tier. Kim Dracula. I personally like this track a lot. What can I say? It's one of the best guitar riffs from Deftones that I've heard, and it's overall such a good and unique vibe to listen to. Top of the really good tier. Riviere, meaning river in French. This one is slowly getting more recognition, and oh boy is it deserved. I personally relate to a lot of lyrics to this song, and the guitar is utterly beautiful. In between Engine Number 9 and Main in the amazing tier. I like this album a lot, and I'm biased because owls are one of my favorite animals. But with the cover aside, it's a wonderful album made under unfortunate circumstances. In late 2008, Deftones' bassist Chi Chang suffered a tragic car accident, leaving him in a semi-comatose state until his eventual passing in 2013. Without a bassist at the time, one of the band's friends, Sergio Vega, stepped in to help. During this time, Deftones was working on their sixth album, Eros, which was later scrapped out of respect for Chi, and the band began working on something new, Diamond Eyes. This album was released in mid-2010 with a slightly different vibe from Saturday Night Wrist. It still had a lot of the same shoegazy vibes to it, and a lot of the tracks, most notably Sex Tape, are a testament to this. For me, I'd give this album a 9.3 out of 10. The first and self-titled track, Diamond Eyes, was really good. Its sound is unique, heavy, and dreamy at the same time, with a lot of the same vocal elements from Saturday Night Wrist. In between Deathblow and 1 Week in the amazing tier. Royal. I don't mind this track, but I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to put it on. A lot of the stuff in this song is repetitive, boring even. In between Head Up and Bloody Cape in the not bad tier. Command Control. This song is a bit better than Royal, but not by much. It's just a mid track, but I can still respect it. Top of the not bad tier. You've Seen the Butcher. Alright, this one's pretty solid. The guitar riff at the beginning is groovy, and the rest of the track flows well. In between Lotion and Battle Axe in the good tier. Beauty School. Hear me out. I'm gonna make the argument that this song is better than a lot of the other songs on this record. The lyrics are poetic, and the instrumental is clean. Overall, just a great track. In between Passenger and Mascara in the amazing tier. Prince. This one's underrated by a lot. It sounds weird, but in a good, cool way. I like the pitch bending a lot, and it doesn't get nearly as much recognition as it deserves. It's also very deserving of its title. Back at the really good tier. Rocket Skates. This one's alright. Picks up a lot of the elements from the previous track, Prince, and it flows well with the rest of the album. The guitar sounds really cool as well. In between Needles and Pins and Back to School in the good tier. Sex Tape. Man, this song is great. I played this for my dad as his first impression of this band, and he liked this song a lot, as someone who doesn't really like hard rock music. This one is great, and one of, if not the best tracks on this entire album. It flows nicely, makes you feel like you're floating, and some of the best vocal performances I've ever heard. It never gets old, and it matches so many different vibes. In between Knife Party and My Own Summer in the God tier. Risk. This song is like Rocket Skate's cooler brother, and I see why people like this a lot. It's subtle, but the synth in the background adds a nice touch to the song. I like this track a lot, actually. In between Lotion and You've Seen the Butcher in the good tier. 976 Evil. This song is super underrated in my opinion. It reminds me a lot of Sex Tape and Risk, and it has that signature flow and core style that's present throughout this entire album. Behind Prince in the really good tier. This Place's Death. If 976 Evil is underrated, this one is even more underrated in terms of play count. It's really similar to 976 Evil and a mix of a few other tracks, and I personally really like this a lot. Bottom of the really good tier. Koi no Yokan, translating from Japanese as Premonition of Love, describes the feeling of meeting someone for the first time and knowing you're going to end up falling in love with them. It's also the name of Deftones' 7th album. Released in late 2012, it's widely respected as one of the band's best works, and it shows. Sounds a bit like Diamond Eyes. Actually, sounds like a lot like Diamond Eyes now that I've re-listened to it. Still has a lot of shoegaze sound to it, and this album in particular has inspired other bands like Loathe, which highly resemble the atmosphere of this album. For me, I like it a lot, and I think it's one of the most consistently good albums in their discography. It has many popular tracks like Rosemary and Entombed, which are popular for a reason. Just simply, they're good. The album cover is actually really cool. For the longest time I didn't know what it was. I thought it was something designed in Photoshop, but it's actually a real place. After a bit of research, it's a hotel called The Opposite House in Beijing, China. Overall, I'd give this album a 9.3 out of 10, tied with Diamond Eyes because it honestly just depends on my mood which album I prefer more. The first track, Swerve City, introduces the atmospheric sound of this album. It highly resembles the aggressiveness and guitar sound of Diamond Eyes, but with more layered vocals, almost like Saturday Night Wrist in a way. This track is great. It's fast-paced, but a little short. It's actually the shortest song on the whole album. In between Riviere and Maine in the amazing tier. Romantic Dreams. This track slows down a bit after the rush of Swerve City. It's a nice song, but it's not one of my favorites. It's still really good though. In between Battle Axe and RX Queen in the good tier. Leathers. Hell yeah. This track is amazing. Truly has its own unique sound to it. The lyrics are great, vocals are amazing, what more can I say? Back of the really good tier. Poltergeist. It's a type of ghost that throws stuff or makes noises, and this track is truly deserving of its name. It's ominous, spooky, almost like Prince off of Diamond Eyes. It's super underrated and an overall really cool sounding track. I'm a huge fan of this. Above Leathers in the really good tier. Entombed. This song is beautiful. It was one of the first songs I heard of this band after listening to Cherry Waves, and boy, was it a good first impression. The guitar sounds incredible on this track. Chino's vocals back it up really well, and it's one of their best songs in my opinion. In between Beauty School and Mascara in the amazing tier. Graphic Nature. It's the least streamed track on this album. It's not bad actually, but it's a pretty forgettable track in my opinion. There's just too many bangers on this album to go around, I guess. In between MX Part 2 and Elite in the not bad tier. Tempest. For some reason, I always get this track and Poltergeist confused. They sound a bit similar in my opinion, but I like Poltergeist a lot better. This song is still good though. In between Labia and Korea in the good tier. Gauze. This track is super underrated. Like, super underrated. Total sleeper track and definitely not a forgettable track by any means. In between Pink Maggot and Prince in the really good tier. Rosemary. What's not to love about this song? Yes, it's popular, but it's honestly just a wonderful listening experience. As someone who likes longer songs, this track almost takes you on a journey when listening to it. The intro at the beginning is beautiful, as well as the chorus. The outro is almost a nice breath of fresh air and just in a nice way says, hey, this song's come to an end. In between Sex Tape and My Own Summer in the God tier. Goon Squad. This song sounds a lot like Poltergeist, as well as Gauze a bit. Super underrated, being the second least streamed song on this entire album. In between Hexagram and Lifter in the good tier. What Happened to You? It's a nice closer to this wonderful album, and honestly just a really good track in general. In between Poltergeist and Leathers in the really good tier. This album's a bit rough if I'm being honest, and this section is going to be pretty short with the exception of a few songs. Released in mid-2016, many fans and critics ranked this album as Deftones' worst. For me, I have to agree. This album is wildly inconsistent, and would not be something where I'd listen cover to cover, because if I'm being honest, that's not a good way to listen to it. I'd pick out a few tracks from this and go about my day, because there's more skips than listens on this. Saying this album is Deftones' worst doesn't mean it's bad, it's just like saying you're getting a base model of a Porsche. You're still getting a damn Porsche, but for me, overall, I'd have to give this album a 6.1 out of 10, being hard carried by only a few tracks, which you'll see what I'm talking about. Starting off, Prayers Triangles. I can't describe the soundscape on this track at all. It's super atmospheric and dreamy, and in my opinion, is almost something entirely different than their previous albums. It's a really good song, but it's sad it tricks you into thinking this album is going to be good. In between Beware and Xerxes in the amazing tier. Acid Hologram. I want to like this song. It's alright, but saying it's one of the better tracks on this album doesn't mean a whole lot. It's slow, boring, and the vocals are super hard to hear or understand. Bottom of the not bad tier. Doomed User. It's so close to being a good track, but the mixing is terrible. Like I said earlier, the vocals are super hard to hear, sounds like Chino's downstairs while I'm upstairs, with noise cancelling headphones on. Right above Acid Hologram in the not bad tier. Geometric Headdress. Honestly, a super forgettable song. It just feels like I woke up from a fever nap. In between Lucky You and Rapture in the bad tier. Hearts, Wires. The build up to the vocals is a bit long, taking a little over 2 minutes, or almost half the song length. It's decent, especially compared to the other tracks. In between Tempest and Labia in the good tier. Pittura Infamante. I don't really like this song if I'm being honest. It's a bit more listenable than Geometric Headdress, so just above it in the bad tier. Xenon. I don't like the song either. It's super dissonant, sounding like the song is being played in 2 different keys at the same time, which makes it a hard listen. In between Pittura Infamante and Geometric Headdress in the bad tier. LMIRL. Alright, we're slightly back. It's actually a pretty solid song. Dare I say good? The intro got super popular on social media, which prompted me to listen to the entire song. I was pleasantly surprised. In between RX Queen and Root in the good tier. Gore. The self-titled track, and not deserving of it. Again, back with the really bad mixing, which makes the vocals completely unintelligible. In between Xenon and Geometric Headdress in the bad tier. Phantom Bride. It's unfortunate what this song is surrounded by, which is why it was completely out of my interest for the longest time. I only discovered it pretty recently in terms of when I first started listening to Deftones. It is a killer guitar solo, featuring Jerry Cantrell. The lyrics are nothing short of amazing, and I don't think I've ever skipped this song if it comes on in shuffle. It is a very unique sound and is honestly something I love. Dare I say, back of the god tier. Rubicon. Is it bad that a lot of my first impressions of songs are based on the play count? This one took me by surprise based on the lack of plays it has, and the other tracks with similar amounts. I'm pleasantly surprised. Next to Hearts, Wires in the good tier. Released in late 2020 during the heart of the COVID pandemic, Deftones dropped Ohms. It's kind of a shame how little recognition some of their later works get, and this is a very nice step up from Gore. It's way more listenable, and there's not a lot of tracks I would say are outright bad, which is nice because Deftones doesn't really have many bad songs. Unfortunately for me, we're past the point of albums that I would grab a CD of, and because of this section is going to be pretty short as well. The mixing on Ohms is a bit better than Gore, but it still sounds like Chino's underwater for a lot of the tracks. Overall, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10, but still not bad by any means. The first track, Genesis. It's alright, a bit long in my opinion, and it takes a while for it to get good. In between Command, Control, and Rickets in the not bad tier. Ceremony. I actually like this track a lot. It doesn't really sound like Deftones, but it's still something I can easily enjoy. In between You've Seen the Butcher and Battle Axe in the good tier. Urantia. It's a bit underwhelming after hearing that opening guitar if I'm going to be honest, but still a solid track. In between 7 Words and Street Carp in the good tier. Error. This is one of my favorite songs on this album. It has a very unique sound to it and the lyrics sound pretty cool. Chino's voice is also decently clear on this, which is nice. Right next to Ceremony in the good tier. The Spell of Mathematics. If I'm going to be honest, the intro to this track was a bit of a turnoff. When Chino started singing at around 25 seconds in, it made me actually excited to hear the rest of the song. It's a bit slow and long, but the instrumental bridges, especially the drums on the song, are really good. Just behind Urantia in the good tier. Pompeii. Man, I had high hopes for the song after I heard the intro, so it was a bit of a letdown if I'm being honest. In between Teenager and Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event in the bad tier. This Link is dead. More like, I'm dead. I don't like the song at all. It's loud and basically just screaming, and I can't even understand it. In between Geometric Headdress and Rapture in the bad tier. Radiant City. Honestly, just a forgettable track. I don't like this song as much as the next guy, or maybe even the guy after that. Above Pompeii in the bad tier. Headless. I actually really like this song. It's got a nice flow to it, and even though China's voice is hard to hear at times, I actually think it plays into the feel of the song. The choruses are also on point too. In between This Place is Death and Poltergeist in the really good tier. Lastly, Ohms, the self-titled track. This one's a banger. It's fast-paced with a super catchy guitar riff, and it's super fun to drive to or put on a gym playlist. In between Gauze and Prince in the really good tier. It's honestly really cool to see that they're still making music. Released last year in mid-2025, Deftones dropped Private Music, their 10th and most recent album to date. Their overall style is similar to Ohms, but in my opinion way better. It shares a very similar structure to how the music is composed, such as the guitar tone used throughout the album, but also having slightly different style to the choruses, similar to that of No Yokan, but also unique in its own way. It's rated a fair amount higher than Ohms, and especially Gore, and has been accepted as a solid album by fans and critics. For me, Private Music is a pretty solid and respectable album. Sure, it's not their greatest, and I don't go out of my way to put it on, but it's certainly not their worst, and I'm glad to see a major step up in terms of quality compared to the roughness and criticism surrounding their past two releases. I'd give this album an 8.2 out of 10. The first track, My Mind is a Mountain. It reminds me a lot of something from Ohms, but a taste of something new. I remember hearing this track when it was released before the rest of the album, and for me, it definitely raised my expectations. Back at the really good tier. Locked Club. I really hear the No Yokan resemblance in this track. It's a decent listen, but there's certainly better songs in this album for sure. In between Command Control and Genesis in the not bad tier. Ecdysis. This one's groovy, and I'm a huge fan of the drums on this track. Ecdysis is a term used to describe the process of a reptile shedding their skin, which I think is pretty neat. Right above Locked Club in the not bad tier. Infinite Source. I like this song a lot. The lyrics are interesting, and it's definitely one of the best on this album. In between Romantic Dreams and RX Queen in the good tier. Souvenir. I like bits and pieces of this song, but I don't like the whole song as much. When hearing the intro, I had high hopes for this track. Kind of like a Catfish in a way, but it's still pretty decent. In between Ecdysis and Locked Club in the not bad tier. CXZ. I don't know how to explain it, but this song feels like an interlude in a way. Even though it has vocals, it's kinda hard to listen to if I'm being honest. In between Moana and Doomed User in the not bad tier. I Think About You All the Time. This song's really good, arguably one of, if not the best on this entire album. It's like what Sex Tape is to Diamond Eyes, what this song is to Private Music, which I like a lot. In between Riviere and Swerve City in the amazing tier. Milk of the Madonna, another track that was released before the rest of this album. Deftones did a good job at picking out their top 2 songs for pre-release, if that's what they were trying to do. For me personally, I like this one a lot better than My Mind is a Mountain. In between Kim Dracula and Nosebleed in the really good tier. Cut Hands. Like Ecdysis, it's a pretty groovy and in my opinion, very underrated. It's slowly getting more attention and it's well deserved. Above My Mind is a Mountain in the really good tier. Metal Dream. This is a total sleeper track and I like it a lot. It sounds very similar to something off of No Yokan, which I can say the same for a lot of the tracks on this album. In between Cut Hands and My Mind is a Mountain in the really good tier. Departing the Body. Chino sings in the beginning? Hearing his lower vocals took me by surprise, and at first I didn't even think it was him. It's a solid closer track in my opinion. In between Needles and Pins and Rocket Skates in the good tier. Hey, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really want to keep making videos like this where I rank and review music. This is my first video and I just made this channel, so if you want to see more content like this in the future, click the subscribe button. This was actually something I enjoyed working on and I look forward to making more content like this. In a way, this made me have more of a connection to the band that I already really like. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.